Fig is the most real I've ever been of myself. Like, it's the most me I've ever been. I knew I wanted to be an artist. I just didn't think I would be so community-based and want an organization that supported so many other artists, but that seems to just been the path that I took and really fell in love with it. People are afraid to make art sometimes. I think it's like a muscle you gotta, keep using and keep creating. Because that builds on it. And if you've never really opened that door or you haven't for a long time, I think people are a little intimidated by that. So I created this space and I can do all me in it. I know it sounds a little selfish, but I think as artists, we're looking for a space to be our authentic self, right? Well, a poor dream, but no, it's a difficult, it's like, yeah, it is. It's what I've wanted for a really long time. And it's a hustle and it's a lot to keep going, but it's lovely to know I'm coming to work and I'm doing something that I want to do and it's me. And Vanessa said, our individuality is celebrated at Fig. And I'm gonna cry because I was like, that is exactly what I want to do. Exactly. Said I always tell her like life is short, but it's actually kind of long.
Hi, welcome to the Creative Odyssey Podcast. My name is Sheran, and this is a podcast where we talk about the creative journey, why people create, and why we all should create. Today we are here at Future Ink Graphics in Cleveland, Ohio, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Stephanie Kluk.
Yes.
Oh, I got it right.
Yeah.
Who's the owner and founder of Fig.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, thank you for letting us shoot here. You have an amazing place here, very creative. I've talked to your creative people that are involved here. Congratulations, you've done a fantastic job.
Thank you. Done.
All right, Stephanie, how do you define yourself as a creative?
How do I define myself as a creative?
That was a loaded question.
Yes.
How do you define yourself?
How do I define myself in general? As a creative person,
There you go.
as an artist, as an arts administrator, as a connector, as a community bringing together artists. I don't know, whatever that word would be.
Is that what drives you?
Strangely, it does. I think I'm still surprised that I went this route. I knew I wanted to be an artist. I just didn't think I would be so community-based and want an organization that supported so many other artists. But that seems to just been the path that I took and really fell in love with it.
Right. Okay. So you are an artist.
Yes.
Yes, artist. Thank you. So how did you become an artist? What has led for you to become this?
So I've always been interested in art. I would say we want to get real down to being 8 years old.
Yes.
And I used to draw. I actually loved fashion, surprisingly. But I liked fashion, so I used to make fashion magazines. I would draw all of the fashion all of the clothes and all of those things. And I just drew all the time. And I just wanted to make things. And I'm the only person in my family that is, quote, an artist. Oh. So no one really understood what was going on with me, but I had very supportive parents that were like, okay, well, this is who she is, and she's a little weird, but we're going to go with it. So, so they've always supported me in that. So that just kind of helped me grow into it. And then once I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to go to art. So starting in sophomore year, I started actually putting together a portfolio to go to art school. Had to convince my dad that I could do that. But that's really where my journey kind of started.
Okay. So what mediums do you do?
So I actually went into school. When I went to college, I went to go be a painter.
Okay.
But then I fell in love with photography. It's funny because I was horrible at photography in high school, and it became something I love. And a little side note, I did really bad in printmaking in college. I actually failed a printmaking class, and I've never failed another class before. So it's just kind of funny that I run a print shop now and got into printmaking. But originally it was painting and drawing, and then I really love photography. So that was what my major was fine art photography.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fair. So do you still do photography?
I do, a little bit, but mostly now it's in screen print. So I'll take photographs and then I screen print them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So what does creating mean to you? You've been creating for a long time, and what has that how has that evolved over time?
I would say just growing in confidence in my creativity. So like, there's always artists that are like, well, I'm not really an artist. And sometimes I even feel that about myself.
Right.
But I think creativity is kind of like the whole thing. So it's like my artistic ability and what I see, but also like the creativity in the programming and the work that we do and the partners that we have. So I get creativity on both sides. So that's kind of how I see that answered the question.
No, it did.
Okay.
Because it's at the end of the day, how do you see it? That's
yes,
there's no right or wrong.
So growing in my confidence as an artist too has been, and as a creative person, and understanding that my creativity, like I can accomplish things with it and like move forward, and then share that, and then share my confidence of creativity with other people.
What kind of things or topics like drew your interest or curiosity in like the last couple of years as you evolved?
Well, COVID had a big impact on artists. So that was really the impetus for starting FIG. But what have I been drawn to? A lot of it is like these conversations because they don't happen very often.
Yeah.
So when you came to me, it was like, this is great because a lot of what I see is very surface. We're very into like Instagram and what our branding is and what do we look like to the outside. But like going deeper and talking and having these conversations is lovely.
So as like a business owner now, how do you create?
Through programming.
Okay.
I love to come up with ideas. Sometimes they come out in grants. Sometimes I have a lot of ideas. So sometimes they don't come to fruition. But a lot of it is through, I've been making artwork for very specific purposes. So I'm not like at home like making work. It's something I would love to eventually do when I'm not having a business, but that also zaps a lot of my energy and creativity through the business. But ask me that question again. The things I've been into lately.
Right, yeah.
So I would say more of these personal conversations, more of this like, how are we growing as artists? How are we communicating with each other? I think like what you said earlier about artists coming to events but not really addressing what's going on with the artist internally and how like it's kind of a little bit about that confidence is like you have a lot of artists that come in and they're phenomenal artists, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
Or you have some that are like, they're good, but they really think they're great. So really kind of having those conversations and learn. I love very much like one-on-one conversations and learning about the different artists. And we work with so many artists in different experiences and age range, and so that's been really exciting for me too. Like that.
How do you define an artist?
I guess someone who creates. I guess I don't know. That's a great question. Someone who creates, someone who's kind of contributing creativity to something. It could be larger kind of thing, or it could be something very small in their own house, where I have artists that are doing murals in their living rooms, or they're putting up really cool, insane decorations or something for holidays, but they're really creative and kind of inspiring.
Do you feel like you do a real job?
I feel like I work all the time. And I do feel like it's a real job because I pay bills and I have to like pay rent and do all of the unfortunate kind of business things that go along with it. So I say that's probably like the hard part and the parts you don't really love. But yeah, so I do feel like I have a job. Whether I feel super successful at the job, I don't know. It depends on the day that you ask me. So,
so you work with a lot of creative people. That's got to be hard.
It's hard and easy. Depends.
Explain to me.
I mean, artists are very unique, right? So you have a variety of, like, the fact that I love working with a variety of artists just means also you get a variety of artists that are great and they're on time and they're getting their projects done and they're communicating. And then you have some that an hour before they're supposed to be here say they can't be here. So it's a you know, I think a lot of what I do is juggle a lot of things at one time. And you have to know that, like today, there's probably 17 things going on and something's going to go off a little bit.
Right.
And so there's, you know, a lot of troubleshooting and stuff at the job.
Yeah.
But anyways, I keep going off of your question.
No, it's okay. Please do not have to come back to my question. It's not I'm not grading your answers.
No, I'll just keep going off though in a stream of consciousness.
That's fine. I want you to because that helps the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. At any point in your now career, right? Have you ever looked at a creative person like, this is stupid? Like you're crazy. Like
never about their artwork. So if you're making, that's great. If you're someone though that just is more into the idea of being an artist, which there are some people that like that kind of persona of I'm this creative person, but they're not necessarily actually making work or contributing. So there's that. I have a feeling you may have a few people like that.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. So no, I've never been absolutely not, but I've definitely been I don't know. Sometimes too, artists can be too sensitive. So there's a hard part of as an artist, you have to, you're putting yourself out there to people. And so if you can't take any criticism of any kind, even constructive criticism, you're going to have a really hard time as an artist in displaying your work. And so that is sometimes when I find it's more so that I see okay, this is going to be rough for you if you can't even take a little bit of hey, or even suggestions. There are some, and that's just a personality trait sometimes. Right. So
have you noticed the people, creatives who are more receptive to criticism are actively creating artists versus not? Have you seen a difference or any correlation?
I haven't really seen a difference, but most of the artists that are doing pretty well are self-motivated. As artists and creatives, you have to be self-motivated if you want to do this as a job and make a living off of it.
This whole thing right here.
The whole Monday day, yes. So if someone is very self-motivated and really is trying to grow as an artist, like you said, being an artist is it's you as a person, it's your creativity. So being open to growing as a person also means growing as an artist.
Yeah.
I think that's really important for artists to be open to.
Yeah. Why is it so important for you to do all these other extra
That's a great question.
Can you tell me all the things Fig does? Please, list it out so you can understand my frustration.
Okay.
Or confusion.
Well, I don't even know if
Not frustration, confusion.
Okay, so there's many parts of what we do. Some of it is that we are a small business and we are hustling. So there's different ways that we bring in revenue, and there's more fun ways than others. Some of our basic revenue that we have just to keep the studio open is rentals. But we have really cool rentals sometimes. We'll have book signings. We've had a singing group. We've had, just the gamut of different things that are here. So we rent out the space, and that means we're going to market those events even if they're open to the public. So you'll see some of our marketing might be a book signing, and you're like, what is Stephanie doing? It's not our event, but we will promote it as we're hosting these different organizations and businesses. And then we have the studio space itself. So we have a studio that you're in right now for silkscreen and then digital art. Silkscreen is our primary, what primarily people want to do and work with. And so we have that as a space where we're educational space. People can come in. We don't really offer classes, individual classes, but we have opportunities for people to take one-on-ones or work directly with an artist on their projects. So, for example, one time we had a poet come in and he was like, I want to make broadsides, posters to give out at my book signing. So he worked with an artist. He was like, I'm not a visual artist. We brought in an artist with him and they created together what this would look like. And then they screen printed them. Wow. So that's one thing. And then we have programs with education. So we work with Metro Health. We do their SAFE program, which works with about 500 CMSC students each year, which is really awesome and rewarding.
What do you do there?
So that is, we provide the visual arts portion. So the program offers students in a couple of CMSD schools, dance, theater, music, and visual arts. So we're the visual arts component.
Can you tell me what CMSD means?
Cleveland Municipal School District.
Okay.
So it's Cleveland schools, public schools. And so that's been a really awesome and rewarding program. It's intense. It's all usually within a month of the, out of the year, 2 months out of the year. But it's a really great and rewarding program. And then we meet really cool kids, which some of them come and intern. I will say, high school kids are awesome right now. And I've had more high school interns that have been awesome and totally eager to learn. And we've got some just because we go into the schools and they're like, hey, and we're like, you can come and do this. Like I probably invite more people than I should to FIG, but I'm like, come and work here, come and do stuff. So we do that program with schools. We do that with multiple schools though. Like we can get a call from a school, they want to do an anti-bullying campaign. So we work with the kids on that, and then we screen printed posters with them that they created. So there's lots of different stuff we do with education, summer camps we do. So that's one part of it. And then we have a relationship like with the Rock Hall. So there's different organizations that I've just tried to build relationships with so that we could offer opportunities and exposure to more artists. Right. So we work with them usually 3 to 5 times a year. They'll commission us to bring in an artist, a different artist. You can see some of the posters. And we have them design it, and then they can come and live print it. So then the artist is also promoted through the Rock Hall. They get to experience it. They also get to learn the process of deadlines and getting your images and following the directions and stuff like that. So that's another program we have. And then even though we're a for-profit, I ran nonprofits for about 20 years. So in my soul, I'm a nonprofit girl. I'm trying to get better, but it's a long journey. So I also write grants. So we have 4 grant-funded programs. One is a program for women. So it's called the Ann Kibbe Residency Program for Women. So every year, women apply, and then we have a jury that selects one, and they get 3 months of like studio space. So they get a key to come in here. They get 20 hours of one-on-one instruction with an artist, and they're featured in our exhibition. We also have a gallery, community gallery.
Community gallery.
Yes. So it's here in the Pivot Center, but it's accessible whenever the building's open, which is really nice. And then we have a program. We have a grant-funded program for adults with disabilities. That's a professional development residency program. We have programming for senior citizens, just one of my favorites.
Wow.
And then we have a Creative Incubator, which is a program we have where we support artists in their projects. So they're all in different areas, and they may just be starting, they may be a little more established, but need support and maybe some guidance. So we have kind of a little crew, a committee of people from different organizations like SCORE, which is a mentoring organization, or what is the Cleveland Legal Aid Society that will come in, or like Hispanic Business Center will send somebody like for marketing.
I see.
So it's basically whatever those artists that year, usually we have 3 a year, that we just like help them complete their project. And a lot of that too is just me connecting them to different resources too, so.
I see what you meant by using your creativity in your business. My gosh, that's really creative.
And then we have our gallery.
Right.
So we have our gallery, which is awesome. And then we have the internship program.
Right, I knew that.
So we have 2 that are directly like through a school where they actually send their students here, and we have an actual like layout of their program of how they lead a project and lead their class into creating a t-shirt design and stuff.
I see.
And so we do 2 of those each year, Mayfield High School and then Hathaway Brown. And then we have an open internship program too. So you can apply spring, winter, fall, and then we usually take 1 year. I did have one summer, I had 6 interns, and I promised the staff I wouldn't do it. So normally we have like 2 at a time. But now we have the 2 we had. I didn't even promote it because both of them wanted to stay on from their last. So I was like, that's fine. We'll do a summer internship call then.
Wow.
So.
Okay. So your life is just creative people pretty much all the time.
Yes.
Except unless you're sending writing grants.
Yes, but even that I feel very creative. So that is something I like literally made up a project I wanted to do and wrote a grant for it, and I'm like, we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll get it or not, but if I get it, that's great.
Hi, I hate to interrupt, and I hope you're enjoying this conversation, but we had something really exciting to share with you. We have recently started a new company called Odyssey House Media.
It's essentially a production company to help people tell their stories in a way that actually highlights their story so that people can actually believe in what they're doing.
So after traveling around Sri Lanka and coming back to the States, we noticed that there's a lot of incredible people doing some really great, meaningful work, but they don't quite always know how to tell their story or have the confidence in doing so. So after working with some other organizations and partnering with them to share their stories, we realized we need to help people share their stories.
The Odyssey House Media has been the one that's been sponsoring this podcast, our blood, sweat, and tears.
So if you've ever wondered, you have a story and you're not sure how to share it, we'd love to talk to you, have a conversation. You can check out more about us and our work that we've done in the past in the link below. All right, let's get back to that conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's weird because I'm not like, yay, grant writing. But sometimes it's nice to sit and like not, I'm a very community-based person, so I'm around people all the time.
Right.
But I also can be very much an introvert and an artist that just needs to be solo.
Right.
So sometimes I can sit for 8 hours and be like, oh, I'm getting into this idea and what I want to do and like develop it.
Yeah.
That also excites me, and I like doing that.
I'm curious, you pretty much work with all ages, right? People who are all ages. What is like so common to everybody when it comes to creativity or what you're learning from these programs you're doing?
That people are afraid to make art sometimes. I get that more than anything. Like if people come in here, especially like our senior program, it's like, well, I'm not an artist. And I'm like, well, you don't have to be. Like we're experimenting. Today is experimental day or whatever. Yeah. So I do find a lot of people are intimidated by the art making process. So that sometimes surprises me because I'm like, as you
have
are
you
as an
explored
artist.
Why that is? Or have you asked them like what are the reasons?
I think again, it's that confidence in being a creative or whether, you know what I mean? I think there's a lack of people are like, I don't know how to draw. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't need to know how to draw to do this. I don't really draw very well either. So it's fine. So I think people are just, if you're also not open and tapped into your creativity pretty often, I think it's like a muscle you gotta, keep using and keep creating. Because that builds on it. And if you've never really opened that door or you haven't for a long time, I think people are a little intimidated by that. So
interesting.
That's the only thing I've never really sat down and asked somebody like, why don't you want to do this? I just, but I've noticed that that's a thing.
There's a reason
but
why I run a podcast.
I'm going to call you and I'll be like, I have a class and half of them are scared to draw. I'm going to call you in to start talking to them. Little mini sessions, I think it would be good. Help open people up.
I ask questions. That's all I do. Literally, I feel like as an adult, I feel like that's all I do.
I feel like I want to also like ask you questions next. So you're on your own podcast.
Trust me, I'm horrible at answering these questions on camera. Like
so
she's
I'm
done that.
asking that.
She's done that. We've done episodes where Lizzie's interviewing me.
Yeah.
And my answers are horrible, like so short, and like it needs a lot of like work for me to get interested in what.
That's all right. Your creative skill is your question.
Right.
Yeah.
That's thank God. Should be doing the wrong thing if that wasn't the case. Okay, so you work with all these people and you get all these different kinds of people who are drawn to what you're doing here. Like that's why I came here, right? Why is that? What are we looking for?
I think there's a lot of people that want a space where they can be themselves. I think that's a lot of like, we're all kind of, that's why I talk again about the confidence in your creativity, like confidence in yourself as an artist or someone who creates, and that like, you do this. And this is more also about like your own identity. So like when I started FIG, I always say like FIG is the most real I've ever been of myself. Like it's the most me I've ever been. So I created this space and I can do all me in it. I know it sounds a little selfish, but I think as artists, we're looking for a space to be our authentic self.
You're
right?
living the dream.
Well, a poor dream, but no, it's a difficult.
Regardless, a dream.
Like, yeah, it is. It's what I've wanted for a really long time, and it's a hustle and it's a lot to keep going. But it's lovely to know I'm coming to work and I'm doing something that I want to do, and it's me.
And you have found people who found that you're running on this passion. Like we see the vision, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. What? I feel like I'm forgetting something that I was going to ask you.
Well, I want to say, can I say one other thing too? Because Vanessa had brought it up, and I was like, we were in a meeting for something, and I was like so happy that I was like joyous that she said this, because I was like, I had a group from Case come in, and they're doing like helping us evaluate, like this is the business part, right? Like how do we communicate as a team, and because we're such a small team and things like that. And Vanessa said, our individuality is celebrated at FIG. And I'm going to cry because I was like, that is exactly what I want FIG to be. Exactly. And I love people that are different and unique.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is that kind of like,
you're right.
If people can, I hope, can feel that, like, then they're drawn to the space because there's no judgment.
Right.
It's like, just be you. I mean, unless you're like a serial killer. But like, it's like, there's no judgment, like come and be you. And I like really think you're like, the uniqueness of people is like what makes them so special.
Other than like places like this, where can creatives go to find community?
Cleveland has an awesome art scene. I think people don't realize how big Cleveland's art scene is. I mean, it's small, but it's pretty big and it's very well supported. So I think Ohio, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but Ohio is second to California in most funding for the arts.
Wow.
Cleveland is one of the most philanthropic cities. And so we have a lot of arts organizations in this community that are looking like Assembly for the Arts.
Yeah.
But if you want to go there, that's going to be, they could be your fiscal sponsor. So you can write a grant for yourself as an individual artist. They have workshops. They have their own grant opportunities.
Right.
So there's definitely resources out there. We have Cuyahoga Arts and Culture, which is another one it's a county-based, but it gives out funding and it works with the arts and gives to a lot of nonprofits. And then just a lot of arts organizations, Spaces, Zygote. I was the director there for a while. Art House, Julio de Burgos. Like there's so many really cool Access. I could keep going, Brick. But yeah, there's just so many cool organizations. So you can find your, niche here. You can find your space that you feel like works for you and your medium. Yeah. So, some of them, obviously, we're silkscreen and digital art. We do a lot of other stuff too. But if you're, a fiber artist, you can go to Praxis. Or if you're a ceramic artist, you can go to Brick. So there's definitely spaces where you can go and explore also other mediums that you might want to try.
That's cool. I had no idea. I mean, I had some idea of some of those organizations, but one thing I did realize is that, like, Cleveland, I don't know why, but especially the creative people, everybody's in their little silos.
Yes.
And, like, I feel like I'm, like, discovering all these people. I'm like, why don't we all know each other?
So I lived in Chicago for about 6 years.
Okay, cool.
And I worked for a nonprofit there, and I did very similar work where I was like calling up, the Contemporary Art Museum and places and being like, hey, can we collaborate and have an event there? And they're like, absolutely, sure. I came to Cleveland, and this was back in, when did I come back? 2008. And I'm just like, I started an organization, think the same thing. I'm picking up the phone, and they're like, well, you can rent our space, but then you also need to have a security guard. And I was like, oh, okay. So they were much more, it's definitely opened up over the last, however many years it's been now, almost 20 years. Cut that out. But it's definitely gotten better. But like I noticed Cleveland is a little bit more, I think when you're in a major city too, like there's a lot of turnover. It's not only just like there's a lot of jobs and opportunities, but people are constantly moving. Here, I think people keep their jobs a lot longer. It's kind of like you got into your spot and this is a good one and I'm going to keep it.
Small pond concept?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I do find, and I think just the way our city is kind of built, like it's not really, nothing's, it's so spread out. You have like University Circle all the way over there and then the East Side, West Side divide. That's one that one really bothers my mind.
Yeah. Let's just say it out loud. Like, what the heck,
most of my family's on the east side and I live on the west side and they're like, oh my gosh, you should just go back to Chicago. It's just as far. And I'm like, you can cross over the river. It's not that hard.
Chicago is 6 hours away, bro. Like, what the heck?
Yes. Yeah,
it is interesting. As an outsider who lived in Cleveland for like almost 8-9 years now, I have noticed that I just can't. Like, I just think that at least as creatives, we need to get over it. Like, yes. I don't care about changing the culture in Cleveland, but I care about the creatives because like we're getting like messed up in all the other nonsense when we should be the ones together. Like, collaborating.
I totally agree. Yep.
And so. That's why I'm so grateful you said yes. Like when I first thought about the idea, like this is crazy to go and ask somebody to shoot somewhere because I don't want to pay a studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, we are helping each other, highlighting like this is the best thing we can do for each other.
Yep.
So collaboration is fantastic.
But not everybody feels that way. I think there's like collaboration. Like I'm the one that's like spread the wealth, man. I'll tell you how I got my grants. I'll tell you where I got my grants. But there are people that are like, well, if I give you this information, then I'm not going to get the grant and then you're going to get it. So I think there's a little bit of that going on in Cleveland where there's more of this like protective of the information that you have. And so it's not as open. But I'm the opposite. I'm like, the more that I just feel like you open that up, like, yes, sometimes you get burned. Sometimes somebody's crappy to you. But overall, I'm not going to change my personality based on that and what I want to do. So that does happen. But overall, I feel like it opens it up for people to come into the space. Like when they feel So like starting FIG was a lot about creating an inclusive space, because a lot of the other organizations, they talk about it a lot, but it wasn't really happening. And so starting FIG, I was like, from the get-go, I want this to be a space that's accessible and inclusive and people feel comfortable and at home here. So,
have you ever had situations where like somebody who's new to creating, being coming to, let's say, a class or something, so it's not the first time, and you haven't seen them actually enjoying their process?
That's a good question. Sometimes in the high schools, it's more so that they'll like it once they start doing it. So there's a lot of hesitation into starting it. But I haven't seen anybody, no, I'll take this back. I had one intern, which I always say, your internship is not just like, cool, I want to do silkscreen. It's like, do I want to do silkscreen?
Right.
Like, so the whole thing is you're coming in here to see if this is something you might want to do. So I had a kid who was just like, I was like, here's a screen, just practice printing. I was like, you may even break the screen, but you're going to mess up a bunch of prints. It's not going to look nice. I said, so just accept that as this is how you start to learn. And for 2 hours, this poor kid was like, he didn't even stop talking. He was like, I hate this. I'm horrible at this and this. And I was like, so we literally sat down and I was like, maybe that's what this was. You now know that this is not what you want to do. And that's okay.
Yeah. It's totally
but I would say he's probably the only one that I can remember off the top of my head that wasn't enjoying working in the arts or working in this environment. Because once I even get them working, and even if they're a little nervous about it, usually people open up and are like, oh, okay. You know, all you got to do is go over there and be like, that's awesome. And then they're like, oh, and usually it is. And I'm not lying. Like, I really think a lot of this stuff is awesome. So that's the other part, is I genuinely enjoy people's work and I love to watch them grow as artists. So working here and working in the arts means that I make art kind of sporadically. Yeah. So as I was saying, like, it has to be project-based. And so the first work I really made in a long time was last year. I curated a show about my dad, who had passed away at the end of December, or end of December of 2023. And it was really a profound experience for me. Like, it really has changed a lot of my perception of just life in general. And so I was like, I need to make art about this, but I haven't made art in a long time. And I want to have a show, because I also, through the process of my dad being sick, he was sick pretty much all of 2023. I met so many people, mostly artists, but like so many people who were going through a loss or taking care of someone, like a caregiver that was just like, you love, but it's so draining and it's heavy and you need those like support system. So since I had so many people, like, you kind of just, when you go through something like that, you have people that run from you as far as they can and as fast as they can. And then you have others that kind of, you flock together where you're like, this is an experience that you once you experience it, you're in that unfortunate club, right? But so I created a show called The Immortality of Grief, which is a little deep in itself with the title. But I made work about my dad.
Immortality of Grief. Can you explain to me?
Well, that was a collective naming. Okay. But it was basically about the fact that you will grieve. It changes, your grief will change, but I'm assuming I will grieve my dad the rest of my life. So it was about like the extent of
grief. Wow.
Yeah. So and just how it changes and morphs and hopefully just keeps getting easier, but still becomes a more lovely memory than crying. But either way, so I started to make work and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I haven't made anything in a long time. And I knew I had one photograph of me and my dad. And it just started to be, I'm a Cancer, so I'm a water sign. So I love water. And so I was finding all of these old photographs of him and I, like, fishing in Canada and on the water. And so, and I, during the time that I was grieving him, I was so drawn. I'm always drawn to the water, but like that became like my, mental health drive every day was going to the lake. And so when I found all these photographs, I was like, okay, well, what do I do with these? So I tried a CMYK process, and it came out horrible. It just wasn't, I was like, nothing was working. And so I just started experimenting, and I just went through, like, it was really difficult because it was more about the process. One, I was like looking at pictures of me and my dad together every day, like all day I'm printing these. But I knew what I wanted it to look like, but I couldn't figure out how to get it to, because I just haven't been doing my practice that much. So I was out of practice with it. And so I ended up with 100 images on what is it called? newsprint. So like they're just test prints. And actually my art director, who's been my friend for 10 years, she was like, this is your show. And I was like, what? And she was like, all this work is your show. And I was like, huh. So then she was like, you should just hang up all this work. And I was like, well, let me see. So I ended up hanging up like it was like wallpapered of all these prints. And it was just became like exactly what I wanted because it basically took over the whole pivot lobby. And so you couldn't walk into the lobby and not see my dad. And so it was like this lovely, and then I was like, I kind of want to keep this up forever. But it was just a lovely like way for me to just kind of process, going through the process of losing him. I couldn't do it until 2025 though. Like it did take me a while to even think about making work about him. So, but that was the most personal and really healing thing for me as making art most recently. So.
Wow. So that 2-year period since he passed away to 2025.
Yeah.
How did you process that grief?
Not well.
Yeah.
No, it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. And he was very much someone that I talked to about how I was going to start Fig. And like, he helped me, when the build out was going crazy, I was like, Dad, I need your help. Like, what do I do?
Wow.
So like that, just losing someone like that in general was really difficult. And actually like 2024 was one of my most like best financial years. Like it was just really weird where I was like, oh God, I'm having good luck. And that's like, I'm one of those yin and yang people.
Yeah.
But like really, it was really difficult to run a business because like I went through the process of like just not even being able to communicate or not wanting to like deal with anything.
Yep.
Like you just can't actually deal with anyone else's problems. And I have to deal with everyone's problems because I'm a business owner and I have staff and I have people that I work with. So it was a challenge, but I also, I have a wonderful husband. I have great kids. My mom, I've been taking care of my mom. So like my family also then really comes together. Even my cousins were coming in here, like helping me doing stuff. So really it was like, as much as I love to be a community and help other artists, I also need that in return and find those people. And a lot of that is family, and my staff was just amazing. I'd have my moments where I'd go like, I gotta go in the office, and my art director would be like, "Oh, she's crying," and she would make me tea.
Wow.
So it was a lot though. It was a difficult time to get through, but we're still here.
Wow.
So.
How does your children process you as an artist?
That's a great question. I don't know. I used to be cool.
Have they seen you create? Like at least this work of art. How did they process that?
I don't know. My son did cry a little bit when he saw it. I think more so because it's my dad, and it was so big in your face, right? And so I don't know. My kids had their own processing of losing my dad, which is almost like harder as a parent than anything else. But my daughter can be very artistic. She's definitely still thinks I'm cool. Oh. Well, we're getting there. She's going to be 16 soon.
It's all gone now.
It's really cool. Like she comes and helps me at events. She'll like she'll work the rock hall with me. It's slowly where I'm like, "Are you coming?" And then she's like, "Sure, Mom." And I'm like, I think like she went to Bright Winter with me, and I was like, I don't think she actually wanted to come, but she was like, "I'll do it, Mom." My son was cool until about 8th grade. Because I always brought art projects into their class every single year.
Okay.
And so then I was like, "Can I come?" And he was like, "No way." And then he did work here a little bit, but then he was like, "I don't want to work." My son's the oldest and he's doing his thing. So, but they know. I mean, I did at a point was like when had lost my dad, I was like, maybe I just need to be done with Fig because I just can't even process I didn't even want to be creative. Like it just was, you just kind of burn out everywhere. And so I forgot my train of thought on that one, but anyways, they're here. They know that I have this going on. And, I did find once though, my son was taking a entrepreneurship class and he was like a sophomore or something. And I went to the school, like the night, the parents go, but the kids aren't there. And so I went in the class and they had to pick like 4 businesses that they were going to like work on or whatever for this entrepreneurship. And Fig was one of them.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm not going to cry. And I'm like, I'm not saying anything to him when I get back because I can't.
Gotta play cool.
But I was like, those are like the little mom moments where you're like, because like you could come in here and be like, wow, you do all this creative stuff. And I go home and I have 2 teenagers that are like, like you're whatever. It's a rough one. But no, I have great kids. So I'm lucky in that sense. But they're their own people. And my husband works in restaurants. So he is not into the creative field, but when I come here and I'm like, can you fix my door? Or like, I need you to move this stuff around. He's here to do all that. So
That's
yeah.
cool. Okay. So what is the future for Fig?
Well, I just recently started the Fig Foundation. So I have Fig as an LLC, as a small business. And then I started the Fig Foundation, which is a 501c3. I had been using a fiscal sponsor, which is just another organization's 501c3 status in order to write grants.
Right.
But it limits how much I can write. And so after last year, so 2025 was the worst year I've had since I've opened Fig. I've heard this from a lot of small businesses, just economically what's going on in the world has just, it was like an immediate, like, you know, nonprofits weren't spending money anymore. They weren't sure. Education was like, are we going to have a Department of Education? We don't even know what's going to happen. And so it was a really financially difficult year. But also I realized like they're cutting all of these programs. So like programs that would have hired us, I'm like, that means the people are also not getting the other parts of their programs. So I was like, the need for us to actually write more grants so that we can stay open and we can offer these things like, and make them accessible. So if you don't have the money to take the workshop, we can offer them for free or subsidized. So, so the goal is, and now we have a small board, which is good. And it's a board. It's another thing to manage. I'm a little bit crazy. And so it's a lot of work, but I think it's going to, in the long run, it'll be really good for what we can offer to artists. So the hope is that we just keep growing. Like I said, 2025, we took a hit and kind of had to step back a little bit. But I'm hoping that it gets better this year. And then with the foundation, we can secure more funds. Because sometimes too, it's just like, I want to employ my artists that work for me more. Right. You know, like what can I do to generate more income so that they can get paid as well?
So looking at your life and like what you have accomplished and like everything that you've gone through, what are like 2 or 3 things you can tell any creative, any age? Maybe they feel stuck. They don't know how to get out. Maybe they're doing something that they know that doesn't feel like them, right? And yeah, what do you have to say to them?
Well, like what I say to my kids is like, if it doesn't feel right, then it's probably not. Like find those support systems, find those organizations or those people that are going to support you in your growth. Because if you're stuck or not or whatever, you need positive people around you. You can very easily surround yourself with people that are going to say like, you shouldn't be an artist or you shouldn't do this or, you know, take a math class. Like, why are you even trying to be creative? And so I think finding those people that support you as an artist or just as your growth of creativity, or even if you're not making yet and you're scared, be around creative people because that's going to start opening you up to wanting to do that. Work really hard. Like, I think sometimes people think like the flaky artist or like whatever. And of course I run across some of those, but most of the artists that I work with, they are busting their butt. And I mean, they're working every single day.
Physical work, not just
they're physically working. I mean, they're like, just keep going. Like that was the other thing. And then my last one, I guess I would say would be just expect you're going to get no's. Like I just anticipate if I write 10 grants or I reach out to 10 organizations, if I get 2 of them, we're golden. Like I just expect that as like, it's not a negative. It's just part of the process. And so, so like, don't give up, like keep going. And just somebody says something horrible about your artwork, just take it in, learn from the experience, learn how to actually like respond to that in a positive or informative way.
Or like, I'm trying to understand what they're actually trying to say.
Right. Or sometimes people are just negative to be negative.
Right.
And so it's like, how do you take that in and say like, okay, how do I as a person respond to something like that? That's something even in, you know, my 40s, I'm still doing is like, okay, how do I not respond to certain things when they can be really triggering? So, but I think hard work, be around creative people. And then I don't even know what my last one was. No, be able to take some criticism, like be able to understand that it's not going to be roses. You're not going to be like, and you're not going to walk out of school or wherever you're coming, whatever you're doing and just be like, I'm making a ton of money as an artist. Like it takes a long time to build your reputation, to build your skill, and just know that that's part of the journey. Like be excited that that's your journey, not like I got to get to this end point. Just know that like enjoy the ride there. So like Vanessa said, I always tell her like life is short, but it's actually kind of long. So like you don't have to like, I know so many young people that are so obsessed with like having to know what they're going to, this has been weird for me because like I didn't leave school. I mean, I knew I wanted to be an artist and like
This
in the
generation
arts.
is different, man.
But I'm like, even my kids are like, we have to know. And I'm like, you're 16. Like, how you know? I know people in their 50s and they don't even know what they're doing yet. So it's like, just know that this is like, that's my advice.
You know, this is completely off topic since you brought that up. What is like? I thought like millennials did a good job of like stopping that from going into the younger generation.
No, it's like worse.
How did that go down there?
I don't know because my kids said it came from school, like from high school. Like, because I was like, I told my daughter, like, calm down. Like, you could just like take a breather. And she's like, Mom, this is how school is. They want you to be like ready to go. They're pushing a lot of like trade schools, which is great because we need trades.
That's good.
But I think that means you have to know what trade you want to go into when you're 17 years old.
It's not any different than going to college for a major, trying to decide at 17 years old.
Right.
You gotta give people at least 21 years old to decide something.
Right,
you
right.
have no idea.
Yes, and that's why sometimes I'm like, just go and take some classes and like kind of see what you like and what you don't. But I've noticed that and that's why I say these high school kids are kind of like amazing because they come in here and I had one kid who was like, I just want to do this. He's like 17. I just want to do this internship because I just really want to like be around and like kind of absorb the creativity and just kind of experience things. And I was like, who are you? Like, that's awesome. That's exactly what you should do. So I was like, can you talk to some of the older artists we have? Like, so there's definitely, I've enjoyed working with a lot of the high school kids. Like that's been really cool for me. And they're still like innocent and lovely humans. And so that's been really cool. But there is this very much this, like, I have to know what I'm doing tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't know why you think that.
Right.
So
that is true. Yeah. Like my story is like my parents encouraged me to do anything, but because of school and culture, I was like, I'm a creative. They don't accept me out there, man. I don't care how you guys accept me, but I know that they don't accept me.
Right, right.
And so I try to be something that society will accept me to be.
Yep.
And it's so sad because my parents were trying to encourage me all the time.
Oh,
and
no.
nothing ever happened. Like, it's like society.
You're like, we're trying to help you.
Yeah, I can't even blame my parents. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
they were just amazing. And yeah, anyways, that's cool. Well, it's cool and
It's
so many nuance.
Well, hopefully they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is sometimes it's hard to, as I get older, when I watch like younger people and I'm like, I could tell you this, but I was just like you and I'm going to do the same thing until I learn the hard way, or, you know, I can give you advice and not sure you're going to take it.
I think our lesson is to not give advice.
Oh, interesting.
I think that's what we're supposed to do.
Not give any advice?
Yeah, like let them figure it out the way we figure it out. Because
yeah.
it's if you tell younger people the wisdom, you're stealing that opportunity for them to learn themselves.
Oh, that's true, but you're also blocking some crap that you were like, you really don't want to experience this. I think there's a good mix. I think there is a good mix. But I do think they're not listening.
The only reason
anyways.
I'm saying is like every stage of life we have to learn something.
Yes.
And I think I'm realizing as we get older, the trick is to be shut up as much as you can. Only talk when asked or whatever.
Yes, listen more. Yes.
Right? Oh gosh.
That's hard for a lot of people to do. And especially in our society where it's like, you know, you're on everything is sharing your own stuff constantly. That's just, I'm from a different generation too. Yeah. So it's hard for me to be out there and put Stephanie stuff out there. So, but I think there's this idea of like, you know, anyway, yes, I agree with you.
You're talking to a podcast host who ask questions and then have to tell his own opinions.
I think it's great. I like it.
But I struggle that I talk too much in my own podcast.
Well, that's why you have the perfect job. So, right? But, right, like, I mean, I feel like it's kind of, you must be kind of in a similar situation where, like, do you feel, maybe I'm assuming this, that this is your natural self and who you're supposed to be. Yeah. So, like, that is, like, if I could help other artists get to that place, like, how rewarding is that as a human being, like, in your soul? Like, you're getting up and, like, there's jobs I've had before where I would just, like, I worked at a hotel for a long time, like, when in Chicago, and I was just like, this was cool, but, like, you know, it's interesting, but it just was, like, sapping my soul. Like, I was like, I could say the speech, like, welcome to the Hampton Inn Suites, downtown Chicago. You know, I could go through it in the middle of the night. I'm like sleeping and saying it out loud. And so, but it felt so wrong. And so yeah, it's like finding that spot where you're like, oh, this is who I am. And then I can actually make a living off of it.
Wow.
That I think is like the biggest That's a hard goal,
That's a
is
hard
making a living off of something you really like to do. But I think that's the ultimate goal.
Right. But the thing that I learned from you is even in that part, you can't leave creativity out of that part.
No.
You have to bring, you're a creative for a reason. You have to apply it for every single aspect of your life.
Yep.
And I think that's what I learned from you as far as like the business thing, how you run this. On that note, Stephanie, wow, I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
It's been how many hours? Like 7-8 hours?
It's been a while.
8 hours.
I don't know if you drink wine, but if you do,
I think I might.
If you don't, you should start this evening.
All I gotta say is thank you for what you're doing, because it's so cool to see an artist understanding other artists and then going out of your way, so out of your way, to provide opportunities for artists and other people to experience creativity. And especially having us here.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are awesome too. And hosting this and artists and learning about them and getting it out there about different artists and people, I think is great. And you have rich content. This is real. It's like we're having a conversation. Like I said, most of the other stuff is so surface. This is so lovely that you are doing this. It's rare to get these days.
On that note, all I gotta say is keep dreaming, keep creating, and keep going on your own creative odyssey. Until next time, see you later. Wow.
Yay, I hope I made